It's no secret that we've had some issues with G-Wolves, but time and again, they've shown their ability to make some of the best performing mice for both Minecraft and gaming as a whole. And what kind of reviewers would we be if we didn't give our unbiased takes on what is the lightest available, full-sized, solid shell, wireless mouse?
Okay, that's way too specific a category. In any case, today we're taking a look at the Hati HS-Plus Classic Wireless, not the 4K Hz version because I want to be able to afford my college tuition. And we'll go over its shape, specs, and other features, as well as its performance in Minecraft. And stick around to the end of the video to see if this mouse competes with the best on the market when it's placed in our tier list. The Hati HS-Plus is an ultra lightweight, small symmetrical mouse with side buttons on the left only. It has a solid shell with cutouts on the bottom to save weight. It's 117mm in length, 61mm wide at the back flare, around 55mm wide at the grip, and 40mm tall. At first glance, the Hati S looks like a slightly smaller HyperX Superlight, but personally I don't feel the similarity. The Hati S is a fairly aggressive side curvature which helps guide my fingers into more specific placements than the very flat sides of the GPX. For my aggressive claw grip, my thumb and ring finger curl and pinch against the middle taper, which puts my fingers in line with the sensor, which is important to me but may not be for you. I would say the sides are comfortable for a variety of ring and pinky finger placements, though some people with medium to large hands may find the front flare uncomfortable to grip with extended fingers. The very back end of the hump on the Hati S actually feels bulkier in hand than the GPX, XM1R, X2, and ZA13, which means it doesn't hit as deep in my palm as any of the aforementioned mice. The hump does have a peak in the middle, but it has a very sharp drop off towards the back end, which keeps my hand from resting on it. For me, the Hati S-Plus is less a small GPX and more a Viper Mini who went through puberty. The Hati is similar in width to the Viper Mini, though it has slightly more subtle side curvature and feels much taller in hand. If you've wanted a Viper Mini style shape that feels higher and has a larger hump to brace against, the Hati S is solid, but personally its high profile nature makes it feel more awkward and less precise to me than a Viper Mini. I would most recommend the Hati S-Plus for relaxed claw for small to medium sized hands, aggressive claw for medium to large hands, and fingertip grip mostly for larger hands. The Hati S-Plus comes in just 50 grams, which is very good even for a small mouse. The weight balancing on it feels pretty good, but is not on the level of the Lamzu Atlantis or HyperX Superlight, which are the two gold standards of weight balancing in my opinion. I do aim well on the Hati S-Plus, but as mentioned before, the high profile nature makes it feel less precise, which makes it harder for me to flip with. However, for tracking, the Hati S-Plus is among my top performers along with Lamzu Atlantis and Pulsar X2. Despite the low weight, the mouse has good build quality, though with a couple caveats. Side flexing is non-existent, and I can't get the side buttons to actuate even when applying an unreasonable amount of force. The top shell quality overall is some of the best I've seen, however the bottom plate is very thin and flexes with minimal pressure. There's no issues with the shell in use, but I would have some reservations about putting this mouse in my bag. I'd like to see G-Wolves make the bottom plate just a bit thicker. It is also worth noting that my right click is noticeably lighter than my left click, indicating somewhat poor button consistency. G-Wolves has historically had some spotty QC, so while I have not heard of any QC issues on other units, do be aware of this when purchasing. The main buttons use Zippy 60M switches, which I have never tried before. These switches feel pretty light while still offering a good amount of tactility. Both buttons have minimal pre and post travel and are very spammable. As mentioned earlier, my right click is significantly less tactile and lighter than my left click, which is something I like to see G-Wolves improve on in future batches. Both clicks have also noticeably deteriorated in quality in the 2 weeks I've used this mouse, and while I don't think they'll break, they definitely don't feel as good as they did on day 1. The side buttons were a major weakness on the previous G-Wolves mouse we reviewed, and while the quality has improved on the Hati S-Plus, the side buttons are still pretty unstable with a significant amount of post travel on the back side button, making them feel weak and mushy. There's at least minimal pre-travel along with light actuation, which means they are spammable, but overall these buttons do not feel good. The scroll wheel uses a TTC gold encoder, which seems to be a new favorite among OEM companies. The scroll has nicely defined steps for item swapping in game, though not too harsh to allow for smooth and easy browsing. The scroll does sound a bit ratchety due to it echoing in the shell, but this is a small nitpick. Here's a sound test of all the buttons. The skates on the Hati S-Plus are PTFE, but they're not the best. They have low surface area, poorly rounded edges, and are a bit thin, leading to a somewhat scratchy glide. These are passable, but I would replace these with aftermarket skates.
The Hati S-Plus Classic comes with a 3370 sensor, which will provide accurate tracking, but will not have motion sync capability like a lot of other recent top mice. The click latency is comparable to Glorious and just about every other OEM company. The mouse works as expected, no wireless performance issues or other bugs. Well, it works as expected until you want to turn off the mouse, that is. Then you will need to apply surgical precision with a toothpick, a mouse shutdown device, in order to turn it off. In all seriousness, although some say that there is no need to power off a mouse when sleep mode exists, that really only holds true for mice sitting out on a desk. For someone like me who carries a mouse around in my bag, that mouse really needs to be turned off in order to conserve battery, making this mouse extremely impractical for me to daily drive. This mouse also features adjustable demounts down to 0 milliseconds, allowing for every click to be registered. However, G-Wolves' cute little joke of saying that the mouse can't be returned for double clicking every time you lower the debounds gets old very quickly quickly after having to close their pop-up 16 times to get from the default 16 milliseconds down to 0. The battery life on the Hati S+ is fairly good at around 70 hours of use, putting it right next to other recent top mice. And luckily the sleep mode works well, so hopefully you shouldn't have to pull out that toothpick all that often. The charging cable is also decent, a fairly flexible micro USB cable. However, there is minimal stress relief on it, which could make the cable get in the way.
The Hati S+ is good for all three major clicking methods in Minecraft, but particularly jitter and butterfly clicking. For jitter clicking, the light buttons are fantastically spammable. I can jitter 14 to 15 CPS consistently, which is a bit better than most mice. The Hati S+ is definitely among the best mice for jitter clicking, though maybe not quite as good as the G Pro X Superlight. However, if you have small hands, I would not recommend this mouse for jitter clicking, as the high back can get in the way of your hand vibrating. For butterfly clicking, the aforementioned adjustable bounce along with the wide buttons allow me to hit upwards of 25 CPS with ease on both clicks. The Hati S+ comes with some nice grip tape which lets me consistently short drag 15 or more CPS. However, the very light tensioning of the buttons makes it difficult for me to long drag. In terms of value, the Hati S+ Classic retails for $115, but can be found on Amazon for around $100. At $115, it's hard to recommend the Hati S+ over mice like the X2 Mini or the upcoming Atlantis Mini. Both the X2 and the Atlantis are less expensive, are a similar weight, have better side buttons and skates, actual power buttons, as well as marginally better sensors. At $100, the Hati S+ is a more compelling purchase, but is still outclassed by a couple current and upcoming mice. It is also worth noting that the Cooler Master MM712, which we are reviewing soon, retails for only $70 and has similar specs to the Hati S+ and adjustable D-bounce, and is only 6 grams heavier. The Hati S+ Classic is a very good mouse for claw and fingertip grippers. If the shape works well for you, then you'll likely enjoy the mouse. Despite the numerous poor or mediocre features, the Hati S+ still secures a spot at the top of A tier.